You have to follow the precedents and procedures of this committee. This is outrageous that you're not allowing senators to have their fair say before a controversial nominee is being done. This is unbelievable. This is unjust. This is wrong. It is the further deterioration of this committee's integrity. With a person like this, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of hearing from Chris Coons? From hearing from one of my colleagues? From hearing from Adam Schiff? What is the fear here? Have at least the decency to have a vote on my point of order regarding Rule 4. I have respect for you, Mr. Chairman. We've served together for more than a decade, but this is outrageous. This is unacceptable. This is wrong. It is wrong. And why? Why? What is the rush to take another half hour to listen to people? What is the rush? What are we afraid of, Mr. Chairman? What are we afraid of? I do not understand why senators can't debate a nominee as we've done when both sides have been in the majority to take the time. What is the thing that you are so afraid of from hearing from my Senate colleagues? This is a violation of the precedents of this committee. It's outrageous.
This is a kangaroo court. That's all we have here, Mr. Chairman.
This is wrong. To violate your own rules. Federal prosecutors, career professionals, have raised strong reservations about Mr. Bove, who had undermined their legitimate work to hold accountable people who did the most horrific acts of violence. Listen to these folks who are law enforcement professionals and what they're saying about Mr. Bove. Several of these prosecutors reached out to my Republican colleagues on this committee to share their grave concerns, but not one of them were met with by anyone on the other side of the aisle, not even to listen to these prosecutors who did their job, who faithfully served the rule of law, who were instruments and agents of justice. One would expect that their concerns should be heard, but unfortunately not one meeting, almost as if they don't want to hear the truth or the facts or the details. How can you say you were concerned about what happened on January 6th and you won't listen to the people who spent months and months and months prosecuting those cases? How does that make sense? To not even want to hear from these folks who have legitimate concerns, who've expressed grave concerns. I don't understand why we are willfully refusing to hear the legitimate concerns, not of politicians, not of elected officials, but of career folks, many of them Republicans, who've expressed grave concerns. One group literally said, and this isn't from the time that Trump nominated him, this is before he even served in the Department of Justice. A group of lawyers, federal prosecutors and defendants said that he is the prosecutorial version of a drunk driver. He is reckless and dangerous. And have we asked to hear from those folks? Here's a guy that was given the worst ever condemnation from a judge in the SDNY for withholding exculpatory evidence as a prosecutor. There are former prosecutors on this committee. Imagine that kind of flaunting of the rule of law. The grave ethical violations in that case. Imagine that we are about to put that person now to be a judge. That is stunning to me. There is no need to vote on this nominee today. It is a false urgency. My guess is the White House has issued orders to move this along as quickly as possible. Don't let these independent arbiters with legitimate insight into this nominee's qualifications, don't let them be heard. Dear God, we are hearing that there are other whistleblowers who are wondering if they should come forward. We're hearing that they are afraid to come forward. They have lawyered up, and we better get this thing through as quickly as possible before other people come through. With more time, we would get more answers. With more time, the things that Mr. Bove has done at the DOJ and throughout his career would come to light, not by elected officials, but by legitimate people whose voices should be heard. Why are we refusing to hear them? Why are we silencing those people? It's going to get harder and harder for my colleagues to ignore the truth, so let's rush these things through. But let's hear a little bit of the truth. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit a number of letters into the record. First, an opposition letter of current and former state and federal prosecutors from around the country. These prosecutors state, quote, Bove not only refused to hold accountable those who attacked our nation's capital and attempted to block our democratic process on January 6th, but he punished and dismissed career Justice Department employees who investigated and prosecuted that insurrection. Another letter I'd like to submit from almost 1,000 former DOJ prosecutors. This is unprecedented that almost 1,000 former DOJ prosecutors would write this committee and say that they are alarmed, quote, by DOJ's leadership's recent deviations from constitutional principles and institutional guardrails. They identified Mr. Bove as the leader in this assault. They say it is intolerable to us that anyone who disgraces the Department of Justice would be promoted to one of the highest courts in the land. And the third letter I'd like to submit is from 75 former federal and state judges, including a former Third Circuit judge who was appointed by President Bush. Jurists are writing. This is what they say. Elevating a nominee whose record reflects a pattern of misconduct, disregard for lawful authority, and political entanglement would not only compromise the integrity of the courts, it would set a dangerous precedent that judicial power may be wielded in the service of personal fealty rather than constitutional duty. And lastly, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit a letter from former federal prosecutors who have collectively more than 450 years of experience trying cases. These former federal prosecutors, 450 of them, urge there is only one way this committee can determine whether Mr. Bove has violated a court order. It's by hearing the testimony of Mr. Revenet, the whistleblower. Failure to take the time now to do so before voting on this nomination will forever brand this decision as rubber stamping. Mr. Chairman, I make a request, and as I understand the rules of this committee, I have the right to do that. Mr. Revenet witnessed the DOJ leadership plan to defy court orders. I would like to say, ask under Rule 4 of this Rules of the Committee, that the chairman is required to entertain a non-debatable motion to bring a matter before the committee for a vote. I'm making a motion to bring this matter to a vote. I request a roll call of this committee so that the record may show that where each member stands on allowing a whistleblower, an independent prosecutor who worked in Democrat and Republican administrations for 15 years, who courageously stepped forward, who put his life at risk, who is being threatened right now, who felt like it was worth to come forward to speak to this committee. I'd like to request that before voting on this nominee, we would hear from this nominee. I'd like a roll call vote on that according to Rule 4 of this committee.
The clerk will call the roll. Well, before you call the roll, first of all, I do believe that it's not on the agenda what you've requested, and we won't, things that I haven't previewed ahead of time or on the agenda, so I'm going to rule you out of order.
But sir, we can, in all sincerity, we could take the time. We could set the whistleblower coming next week. It would give us more time and then enough time to review all of the things that you're concerned about. The level of gravity of the charges of an independent prosecutor for 15 years who literally has put his life on the line by coming forward. We could do the necessary work to prepare for such a hearing, to hear from this prosecutor.
Before I call on Senator Whitehouse, let me say that you requested put things in the record. We will grant that request. We'll go to Bove's nomination. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, point of personal privilege.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Point of
according to
personal-
Rule 4 of the committee, we have the right to continue to debate this nomination.
No.
I'm invoking Rule 4 of the committee. We have the right to debate this nomination.
You're
And
out of order.
I'm seconding
Mr.
Senator
Chairman?
Booker's demand for a vote on his request to hear from the whistleblower.
Mr. Chairman, you should at least acknowledge my Rule 4 point of order.
You're out of order.
I don't understand this. What are you afraid of about even debating this?
I, by proxy-
putting things on the record, hearing from every senator, dear God, that's what our obligations are. It's to state our reasons for debate. At least address the Rule 4 point of order that we're calling. There's no need to rush this. What are we afraid of? We're not pressing for the 2-hour rule like you all did when you were in the minority. We're simply asking for a credible amount of time to air our concerns before the vote. We respect each other in this committee. We respect the understanding that we have things to say. But yet we're doing this in a way that makes no sense to me. And it makes no sense to me because we're not trying to do things like force the committee to close or force a 2-hour rule. This is about understanding that people on this side have a responsibility to state their issues.
You're out of order?
Mr. Sir, you could call me out of order because this is out of order. This undermines the basic decency of this committee. Yes, maybe overrule a Rule 4, but at least address the Rule 4 point of order that senators were elected to debate issues and debate nominees. This is absolutely insane.
you're
What is the
interrupting.
rush?
You're-
Sir, I am interrupting because you're interrupting
the
a regular point of order. At least address my point of order. I have the right to do that by the rules of this committee. If you want to overrule the rules of committee, then do so. But this is not in any way in order. You are obligated to address a point of order according to the rules of this committee. You could overrule me by a Senate vote. You're violating your own rules. The parliamentarian has been clear about this. The parliamentarian has been clear. You could overrule the point of order I'm doing, but you have to follow the precedents and procedures of this committee. This is outrageous that you're not allowing senators to have their fair say before a controversial nominee is being done. This is unbelievable. This is unjust. This is wrong. It is the further deterioration of this committee's integrity. With a person like this, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of hearing from Chris Coons? From hearing from one of my colleagues? From hearing from Adam Schiff? What is the fear here? Have at least the decency to have a vote on my point of order regarding Rule 4. I have respect for you, Mr. Chairman. We've served together for more than a decade, but this is outrageous. This is unacceptable. This is wrong. It is wrong. And why? Why? What is the rush to take another half hour to listen to people? What is the rush? What are we afraid of, Mr. Chairman? What are we afraid of? I do not understand why senators can't debate a nominee as we've done when both sides have been in the majority to take the time. What is the thing that you are so afraid of from hearing from my Senate colleagues? This is a violation of the precedents of this committee. We're not trying some stunt here to try to force a 2-hour rule like you all did when you were in the minority. We just want to be heard before a controversial vote. Sir, this is wrong, and you know it. You are a person of integrity. How could you be doing this? At least have a vote on my point of order. Sir, with all appeals to your decency, with all appeals to your integrity, with all appeals to past jurisdiction and past precedent, why are you doing this? This is outrageous.
This is a kangaroo court. That's all we have here,
This
Mr.
is
Chairman.
wrong. To violate your own rules without going by the mandates of the parliamentarian. This is unbelievable. There's a way to do this. If you want to force this through, if you want to ram this through, there's a way to do it in accordance to the rules as spelled out by the parliamentarian. It is simple. It is clear. There's a pathway to achieve what you're trying to achieve. But sir, this lacks decency. It lacks decorum. It shows that you do not want to simply hear from your colleagues. This is absolutely wrong. And sir, this is to me one of those moments where we are not showing common respect for each other on both sides. I have sat here when we were in the majority and listened to my colleagues' arguments, listened to their passionate statements, and then we voted. This is not that. This is us simply trying to rush through one of the most controversial nominees we've had under this presidential administration. Sir, God bless America. You are a good man. You are a decent man. Why are you doing this? What is Donald Trump saying to you that are making you do something which is violating the decorum of this committee, the rules of this committee, the decency and the respect that we have each other to at least hear each other out?
Nomination
I've
is,
sat through so many long
appropriate
speeches
reporter
of
to
my
the floor.
colleagues, heard their objections,
Call the roll on
listen
Ann Lee
with
Gaylord
sincerity to try to
Moe.
see what their arguments are. But we are not doing that. Sir, this is wrong, and you know it. There are some people on this committee who are the least firebrand people, and they've walked out. Some of the least controversial people in the Senate, some of the people that worked the hardest to find bipartisan common ground have just walked out of this committee. And you don't even seem to care, but I know you do. I know your heart, Senator Grassley. This is wrong. I know the kind of person you are, and you know this is wrong. This is not necessary. What is another half an hour to allow senators to be heard? It's what the Constitution mandates. It's the ideals of the United States Senate. The world's most deliberative body should take a decent amount of time to deliberate. But here we're not doing that. Here we are jamming this through with some sense of false urgency. It's one thing not to hear from whistleblowers. It's another thing not to hold another hearing. But to not even allow my colleagues to have their moment to speak against this justice, it's just wrong. And I know you know this. I know you know this. The only time this rule has ever been overturned by both parties was done when one minority was trying to pull some stunt to stop the committee from hearing. This is not that. This is not the 2-hour rule. This is a basic element of the ideals of this committee, sir. It is the basic understanding of having debate and deliberation. It's a basic understanding of we can listen to each other even if we disagree, that we should have time and space and a forum to listen. Sir, this is just wrong in every way. It is wrong in every single way. This is an abuse of power. It's an undermining of the well-being and the integrity of this Senate and this committee that I for so long, I've been so honored to be a part of. This is wrong, sir, and I join with my colleagues in leaving.